Well guys, here's my next project, or one of my next projects. I've got a vintage bicycle I'm going to be trying to overhaul and fix up during the quarantine, or some of the quarantine. It was already partially disassembled just to ship it here from eBay, even though it didn't come from very far, probably just a few hours. But this is an old Schwinn Racer. You can see right there. So there's interesting information online where you can look up the serial numbers to date your bicycle, and I found one serial number near the head badge over here, and I looked that up and it asks you where the location is of the serial number. I put that in and it said May of '71. There's a couple other indicators on the chain guard. The Racer logo there has different fonts over the years, so the later ones like this just have block letters like that. And I think the pedal crank sprockets are also different looking depending on the year. So this is more than likely a 71 like it said online. And the first two letters of that serial number are EG, whatever that means. But anyhow, this is just going to be an ongoing project. I'm probably going to start next week. I'm still waiting on some tools and a few other replacement parts, but I at least took apart all the cables because the shift cable was especially shot. So this is just set up with the Schwinn Racer 3-speed, which is an internal hub. After the brake cables, you got your shift cable from the little thumb lever thing. So that'll come from about here and also go under the frame and come down here this way by the seat stay and link down into your indicator chain down here for the 3-speed. And how this works is the chain itself moves in and out depending on which of the 3 gears you're in. And if you look down in there, there's kind of a shaft, and so in second gear that's supposed to be like 1 millimeter out. But yeah, this is just the old indicator chain, so this is all nasty with old oil, but it just threads right in there. So these come in 2 different lengths, so not exactly sure what length this is, or if it needs replacing, or if I can just clean it up and re-oil it or something and it'll be fine. But that just threads right in there. Luckily the 3-speed setup doesn't seem all that complicated compared to like a 5-speed or let alone a 10-speed. This is the shift cable I took apart. This was completely shot. The brake cables weren't in much better shape. So then I've got new replacement tires to put on, and it's important to note that these are Schwinn S6 tires, meaning the ISO number needs to be 37-597. If you get one that's 590, they'll be just a hair too small and they won't fit. That's how a lot of people result in bending the rims and causing damage to them. So you need the proper S6 replacement tire that's 37-597. What else is there to say? So yeah, it's a 3-speed. I took some of this apart. So this is the original Schwinn Racer shift lever, like the thumb lever here on the handlebars. It doesn't operate smoothly at all. It just feels like it's broken. So I have a replacement one of these on order. And this is the little metal pulley for your shift cable to go along. And this is like all corroded, and I feel like it might tear up the cable too much as opposed to having a plastic or nylon roller whatever they're made out of nowadays. So I was planning to replace that too. Then I held on to some of these different end stops for the cables in case I need them. It's kind of in rough shape cosmetically, but it's still pretty complete. Like, this is the nice original saddle, and it's really not torn up at all. It's just got a little bit of scuffing, but this looks pretty nice. None of the stitching's torn up or anything, so it's kind of nice to have this original seat, and it looks good with the red and white. The frame has some paint that's flaking off, and it's all chipped away, so there's this area of the frame here, like the seat stay and the chain stay underneath. It's all flaking off too, down there if you can see. So, not sure how difficult it's going to be to try to respray that, or what I would need to do to attempt to respray that. But at least the major 1-inch diameter parts of the frame seem to be in good shape, and the decals are still visible and intact. And this is still old enough to be a Chicago Schwinn quality Chicago. And the head badge looks really nice on here too. See, that's not beat up at all. And then the front fork looks pretty nice. I know some of the pinstriping on here was actually done by hand, so that's pretty cool. It's got the chrome fenders. They're rusty inside, and they sell replacement fenders on eBay. Not sure if I'm gonna bother with that just yet, because I don't even know how expensive they are. But these are all rusty inside, and the braces are especially corroded. And they sell just replacement braces, but I don't know how to get those apart because they're riveted. So I don't know if I'm going to worry about that yet. The exterior of the fenders aren't really oxidized at all, so I think they should be able to clean up pretty well. I don't think they're too dented or bent out of shape, so probably just keep them. As for some of the parts, the box this was shipped in kind of got torn up a little bit, so there were some holes in it. And I lost one of the bearings for the front headset. So luckily there's a seller on eBay who sells a lot of the vintage Schwinn parts, so I ordered a few of those different parts, and I'm going to try to get some of those bearings so I can at least have replacement ones for here, since one of them is missing, and get that going. And then I of course ordered replacement brake and shift cables. Got the handlebars here. This thing still smells kind of musty, and I don't know. Not sure how long it's going to take for this to air out. But it is kind of musty smelling. Like it was in a garage or a shed or something, I don't know. So yeah, then I got a tube of grease somewhere. So I plan on at least taking it apart enough to repack all the bearings. So there should be bearings inside the pedal crank and the headset, of course. I want to grease the kickstand, I may as well. So the kickstand on these is actually welded right to the frame where it mounts, so that's pretty nice on these old Schwinn bikes. Yeah, I just gotta grease all the bearings, replace the tires, of course, and then I've got a few more replacement parts in here, like replacement brake pads, so those just bolt right on. And then, of course, I got the inner tubes and these rim strip things to cover the spoke nipples. Like I said, the other parts are on order. Oh, here's my grease. I've got to just get the replacement brake cables, especially in the shift cable for the 3-speed Sturmy Archer and the thumb lever here. So basically, your left handle here for the front brake, so you just run a cable down to the front for your front brake, and then your rear one is on your right side handle here. So you run a cable from here down along the top of the frame and back to here. I'll probably just have to sort of make them myself and cut them to length because there aren't any kits or anything for the vintage bikes anyone sells, so you still have to make them yourself, but hopefully I can manage to do that myself. Yeah, I should have the rest of the stuff in the mail next week, so I'll try to make more updates on this as I get working on it and get it all started. But yeah, it should be pretty fun. I hope I can get this thing up and running again and roadworthy, just like for the Escort with these door panels and whatever else. One quick thing I almost forgot to mention is trying to service this internal 3-speed Sturmy Archer hub. So I've seen guys on YouTube tearing these apart, and it kind of looks like a nightmare because there's hundreds of pieces, it looks like, inside. So one thing you can do to service these is there's a little plug right there you might be able to see, and this just opens up, and you can start by shooting some WD-40 in there and running the wheel around just to try to clean everything, and then after about 24 hours you can just put some oil in there to lubricate it, because of course the WD-40 is more of a penetrating lubricant and it's just gonna soak into there and it's not really gonna act as an oil per se, but at least wanted to try to spray some of this in there to get it cleaned out and whatnot. And it's, you know, gonna clear up some of the crud in there and some of the rust, I guess. So I'll try to run this a little bit with that in there and then oil it in another couple days or something. There she goes. Yeah, it's kind of squeaking and creaking. Yeah, definitely needs some grease in the bearings and stuff. See how straight the rim is. Yeah, I don't know. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.